There we go.
There we go.
You got the big heads on the top of the screen and the little heads on the bottom.
Yes.
We're top heavy.
Nice shirt, Hayden.
Thank you. Yes.
Excellent shirt.
Some people I know designed that.
Ah.
Anywho, how have you been, Hayden?
I've been
Thanks
well.
for joining us.
Yes.
Good.
It's yes. Life is good. Gainfully employed, thankfully, and
Good.
yes. So doing lots of international privacy law, which is nice. So
Yay.
yay. Yes, I've currently been reading on Brazil's new privacy law because that's coming up on something that I'm going to be working on. So yes,
you need to learn all about Bolsonaro.
Yes.
The Donald Trump of the South.
Indeed. So
right.
yeah. So what do we got? What's on the topics?
Just you, Hayden.
Oh,
we're going to talk about you for a whole hour.
Excellent.
we do have other topics, but yeah, we actually invited Hayden on because as regular listeners know, Hayden became a U.S. citizen recently.
Yes, I did. In fact, it came up in my Facebook memories that 2 years ago yesterday, I became an American citizen, and yes, and I, obviously,
nice.
So I can, live in Montana and drive a truck
with a recreational vehicle.
A recreational vehicle, yes.
But the main reason is we have him on is because like a lot of immigrants, he is like super fuck yeah America. And so much so that he went out and got himself an FFL.
I did. Yes, indeed. I got myself a class 3. Yes.
Wow. Impressive.
Curios and relics.
That's exactly the one I got. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. Which means I can get anything older than 50 years.
50.
Yep.
That's a lot, actually.
Yes.
Nowadays, a 50-year-old gun is
50 is still young.
It is.
Yeah.
Think about it. All kinds
to
of
Alan, it is.
All kinds of 1911s and revolvers and Smith and Wesson revolvers and Colts and all kinds of stuff like that, or
ARs and AKs and FALs. And
yes. Yep.
This is not just Mosin Nagants and Turkish Mausers,
which is funny because back in the 80s when I first looked at getting one of those, they really were. I mean, you were looking at like black powder pistol kind of. I mean, it was like
broom-handled Mausers,
right? Yeah, and Mosin Nagants and things like that. So.
The very first Browning high powers were starting to get on the list.
Right.
Yeah. But it was a remarkably easy process. I mean, obviously, I did it as a bit of a test balloon to see, for the other different types of classes of FFL. I wanted to get this one first. I know you can get dealer, you can get dealer types FFL, but I just wanted to get this one to see the value in it, and also to sort of get myself understanding of the process, which you fill in a form. You don't actually have to do fingerprints on this one, but there is a background check. Yeah.
So. I got a CNR when I lived in Mass. I'm trying. It was like early 2000s, maybe. And I honestly can't remember if we had to get fingerprints then or not.
So no, for this one you don't, but you had to do a background check. Right. But I'll say I have a concealed carry, so there's no, doesn't even.
And you have to keep a bound book.
Yes. Yes.
Have they gone to electronic yet? I turned mine in when I moved down to Virginia because I didn't need it anymore.
So yes, it appears that there is a electronic version, and this was curious that it seems to be bound to the address and not to me, which I think is really quite curious.
Like a liquor license.
I
Yeah.
think
Good point, Brita.
that's
hadn't
kind of a
thought
holdover to the was it 93 bill that you had to have a separate you have to have a residence to have an FFL. The kitchen table FFL was done away with under Bill Clinton. So I think it's very important that there be a physical address that is where the FFL is attached to.
Yes.
I'm spitballing, but I'm pretty sure that's the reasoning.
Yes. But didn't you have a listener who came on quite often when the show was a call-in? He made holsters and he got an FFL.
Dennis.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Dennis.
Dennis.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Dennis. Yes, he did. It's not a class 3. It's one that allows him to receive but not transfer, because he would get guns from companies to make holsters.
Yeah, it's the gunsmith one.
Right. They can ship it to him. He can hold on to it and then ship them back, and he can't transfer them.
Right. Yes, because I remember he talked about his experience on the show, and I really enjoyed listening to that. So
now you need to go for the class 7 so you can make like suppressors and machine guns.
Right.
oh, I saw that big smile.
There you go.
Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a machine gun.
Best Christmas movie out there.
It really is.
I don't think it's a Christmas movie.
It is.
No, I think it's a movie that's set at Christmas. I think
it's a Christmas movie.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
It's Christmas, Theo. It's the time of miracles. You just don't like it because Britt's the bad guy.
Yes. I love one of the scenes where he sits down. Not the bad guy. The sort of the cheesy guy who does a lot of coke, and he sits down and says, "Can I have some coke?" And one of the Germans brings in a can of coke, completely misunderstanding the request. Yes.
One does.
As one does. Yeah.
As is the custom.
As is the custom. So yeah. So I got the FFL. I got an SMLE Mark III, and I've been looking at some other SMLEs.
Of course, you got an SMLE. Of course. Why did I even? I was going to ask what he bought first, and I was like, of course.
Yes.
Alan, I've got a Carcano.
That makes total sense, Jay.
Yes. So.
And a Beretta.
So yeah, I got some 303, and I've got my first SMLE. I'm looking at now getting a Mark IV because I'd like one. Yeah.
Do the Mad Minute.
Do the Mad Minute. Yes.
So I still don't understand what was your motivation to get one? Like just to do it, or
as boring as that answer. My answer is yes. I wanted to have one to start getting some of the SMLE rifles that I wanted. I also wanted to get one. I'm sorry, the answer is really boring, but to go through the experience of getting one. It sounds a bit sort of stuff and nonsense, but I wanted to what level of difficulty was it going to be? What sort of hoops and barrels and versions of Donkey Kong was this actually going to to be?
What was the time frame from you filling out the paperwork to you actually getting it? How long did that take?
It took about 5 months. My
okay.
yeah, my paperwork from to become an American citizen was shorter. From ink on the paper to in standing in front of a judge and right hand before God was less than 3 months.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But crossing the desert is instant.
yes.
Yeah, maybe we should
Hey.
have tried that. Hayden.
Yeah.
Coming from Canada, they'd never expect it.
Right. Yes. They're right above Buffalo, sharpening their skates right now.
I think it's funny that, you know, there's people all over Twitter that are doing the whole, so the government requires people coming in on airplanes to have COVID vaccines and all that kind of stuff, but people coming in the border don't have to have they don't have to have anything at all, as if that wasn't precisely the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The southern border,
Right.
Canada is still closed off.
Well, Canada's closed off because they closed it off.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of anything the U.S. did.
They can stay there. That's fine.
Yeah.
Those Canadians. Are you still blaming Canada?
Canada's turning into Australia light, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
yes.
terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody want to go there. We're gonna have people fleeing Canada from the U.S. instead of the other way around.
I know.
All the draft dodgers are going to come back.
Yeah.
But so it's interesting. When I became an American citizen to live in Montana and drive a truck, I had to take a civics exam. And I don't know if you've heard about the civics exam by reputation. It's 100 questions, and you have to know the answers. And if you get the answers wrong, then sorry, denied.
They stick you in a kayak and point you east.
Right. Push. Now, one of the questions of the civics exam is what rights are guaranteed to you by the Constitution? Right. Fair. Right. And obviously, one of the, some of the answers are right to free speech, right to own a firearm. And one of the other answers is obviously the right to petition your government for readiness of grievances without the fear of punishment or reprisals.
Yeah.
Welp.
Oh, yes. So we're now labeling parents of children who disagree with school boards as domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously,
Yeah.
so Eric Garland can, activate the FBI to investigate and detain parents, and civil force, remove employment simply for disagreeing with a school board. For disagreeing with what teachers are putting into their children's heads without their knowledge. It's it's interesting, I find. When you then look at the recent thing that happened with the woman in Arizona, where she was chased into she was
yes.
she was chased into the bathroom with people, other Democrats chasing her. She was a Democrat because she wouldn't fall in line with the other Senate Democrats in passing Biden's massive bill that budget that he wanted to. It's not really even a budget. You have to budget sounds
It'd
balanced.
be nice if it was a budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is part of the process, Joe Biden reminded us. This is the process. That was his words.
Exactly.
It's part of the process. Harassing women in the bathroom. Well, I guess for Joe Biden, that is the process.
Yeah.
Right.
The harass. Yeah.
Yes.
Probably got a little tingle in his leg from that one.
No, that was just rule.
Yeah. Because with all this going on, it's on a sort of a very daily basis. You're starting to feel that we're sort of going going into war with a government that used to represent us, and now instead they're treating us like a host organism.
And they keep poking and poking and poking.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And they,
I mean, I think they're just trying to see, like, how far can I go?
And I mean, I want to come back to this civics exam, because it was the denial of the right to petition for redress of grievances that caused Americans to become Americans in the first place.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
that we really, really don't like fucking tea.
No, it's we don't want to pay taxes on tea. Damn it.
Over what was it, a 3% tax, and now the payroll tax is like 10 times that.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Don't
And
get us started, Jay.
any transaction over $600, well,
Yeah, $600 in 2021 dollars is nothing.
Well, that's the whole point, Jay.
You know, it's literally anything. Well, it's one of those things that it sounds all sinister, but this is the fucking government we're talking about. They are so horrifically incompetent. They have this is going to put into place where literally every fucking transaction in the United States is going to be part of this massive data dump, and they're just going to be like, oh, fuck, we can't find anything.
No, that's not the point at all, Jay.
Fuck themselves.
No, the point is to have it all in a massive data dump that they can then troll through and find whatever they want. The point is not to
government
generate
employees. They won't be able to find shit.
No, it'll all go to the NSA. And the NSA is very good at that. So they'll
Muslim outreach. NSA.
They'll dump it into a giant database, and they'll ignore it until they want to target somebody, and then they'll dredge up everything you spent every time you bought porn on the internet or whatever, and they'll trot it out.
$600. We learned about Helen tonight.
Hey, whatever, you know. I mean, it's
sorry.
It's the whole point is to gather information about all these transactions.
To have the fig leaf. They're gathering this information anyway. Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic.
There's that.
And now they can say, well,
Sure.
it's because, you spent more than 600, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
They've given themselves a fig leaf so that they can legally do this now. So that if they decide they're going to target you, oh, look, $600. Oh, like, we didn't learn a fucking thing with asset forfeiture and the drug war for the past 50 fucking years.
But it's not $600 transactions. It's any account. It's all transaction of any account with over $600 in it.
Right.
So that's
surprise, motherfuckers! I got nothing.
But that's almost everyone with a bank account, because at some point or another, you've got over $600 in it. Yeah. So and I guarantee you, if it drops below $600, they'll write it such that it doesn't go away. Right? You had $600 in it at one point, therefore it always applies.
$600.
And I don't know why they stopped at 600. Why not just everything? Yeah. I mean, who, in this day and age, who bothers to have a checking account or an account of any kind with less than $600 in it? You might as well just be Mr. Cash, if you're going to do that.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
me and my burner phone are doing very well. Thank you very much.
But there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that do live like that. They take they take their paycheck to a check cashing place, or they get their EBT card filled up, and
take it to rent a center.
The government already knows what gets spent on those, so
yeah.
$40 in groceries and a case of Tide.
I mean, I think there's a Fed coin, like Bitcoin equivalent, but Fed coin coming up. Is it in preparation for that?
I don't know. I mean, the whole point of a central bank digital currency, I don't think it's going to happen. Well, it can't happen in the U.S. with the current setup, because banks create most of the money. And in order to have a central bank digital currency like FedCoin, you basically have to have like a Goss bank. You'd have to have the Fed would have to be everybody's bank, and all the other bankers all the other banks would cease to exist. So I don't see that happening. Those bankers, they got too much pull. They got,
They own too many politicians.
They own too many politicians for that to happen. So, I don't see it. I mean, there's
not yet.
There's also
when the economy craters into the ground on fire.
Yeah,
they're going to have a lot less.
There's also no. I mean, in the U.S., there's no. I don't know how to say this without sounding conspiratorial. There's no point in it unless you want to exercise complete control over the population. Because
and that would be different than what they're trying to do.
I'm just saying that's there's no point. We already have digital currency because that's what we use.
Might let you have a 4th of July party.
Right. We already have digital currency because that's what nobody, you don't carry cash anymore. It's you use a debit card or a credit card or whatever. And,
I go to the trading post and use pelts. Thank you.
Well, there you go. So, but that's the point. We already have digital currency. So a centralized, there's no point in a centralized digital currency except a complete surveillance state.
Yeah, then they can already track. I won't have a smartwatch because I don't want them tracking me.
Also,
I'll point out their cell phone.
Also, I'll point out that too many very influential and powerful people have a lot of money in offshore accounts that would suddenly cease to have any value if they did that. So, again, I don't see it happening. You got
tomorrow.
You got to think of incentives. I mean, there's.
But Alan, they want a fundamental transformation. They've been saying that for years.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
We already have states like Texas and Florida that are saying, "Fuck you, we're not doing it." Right. And you got on the other hand, on the other side of the coin, you got states like California and Colorado that are like saying to the DEA, "Fuck you, we're making marijuana legal. What are you going to do about it?"
Yeah.
Nothing. So, I mean, this is the fracturing of, I think it's a good thing because it's a reassertion of federalism. And, some states are going to become more hellish and some states are going to become more free. And the feds, it's kind of like, like Stalin said about the Pope, how many divisions does he have? And states like Florida and Texas, they look at the feds and go, what are you going to do? You don't have enough people to send here and control everything. So what are you going to do?
I heard New Hampshire was on the same list as Texas and wanting to.
Well, yeah, New Hampshire's New Hampshire's the Free State Project place. That's the state all the libertarians went to and decided to do their free state.
Project 40 of them?
No, there's several thousand of them now. But again, that's the whole...
Oh yes, as their libertarian senator and libertarian U.S. representatives will attest.
I know it's, but they picked New Hampshire because it had the smallest population that they thought they could tilt in a more free
just
direction.
Like the libertarians in every other aspect, they were wrong.
I know. It's plus, frankly, it's just the wrong state to try to do something like that in. I mean, it's landlocked.
And it's frozen 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
For a month every summer, you're swarmed by bikers. It's like South Dakota. What the hell?
They'd be better off going to some other place, I think.
But anyway, get regardless, by mosquitoes.
It's. I think no matter what happens, we're gonna live in interesting times.
Yes.
This is like, this may be the U.S.'s version of the Soviet Union.
Oh, good.
Where the dissolution and who knows?
Yeah. or a national divorce.
Yeah, could happen. It is the longest running and oldest government in the world at this point. It's it's due for a toss up.
Yeah.
Great.
So yay. And on that happy note.
On that happy note, I have Breda, I have a question on your painting behind you. It looks like a landscape of a building, but it looks very Frank Lloyd Wright.
This, that,
Yes.
The one,
it's a doodle.
Oh, okay.
It's a doodle. I have had that canvas on that easel for okay.
it's
So
also mine.
I have a degree in art. Helen wants it, so I
It's
signed it. I said,
mine.
"Fine, you can have my doodle if you really want it." So, anyway, so I have a degree in art. I, kind of my concentration was in painting. So, I don't know. I haven't painted in a long time, and I had that canvas on the easel for the longest time. And then during lockdown, I was like, "I'm going to paint again."
Yes.
And
awesome.
to kind of pop the bubble, I was like,
Right.
okay, I'm just gonna get some colors on my palette and just doodle and just put something on that blank canvas to and that was my doodle.
So even
And
Breda's
it's actually
doodles are great art.
Yeah.
it looks black, but there's no black in it. It's just all primary colors that I mix. So
Okay.
I mean, if you look closer at it, there's colors and stuff, but
Yeah, like Rita's
It's
doodles
a
are
doodle.
better than anything I could ever dream of doing.
I know.
Yeah.
Her doodles are better than my stick figures.
well, whatever. It's a doodle.
Before you
And Alan can have it because he feels very strongly about my doodle. So
I like
whatever.
it speaks to me.
Okay.
before you you move the camera to have it look like the Frank Lloyd Wright house that's in Pennsylvania that's hanging over the
Falling
waterfall.
Falling water. Yeah.
Falling water. Yes.
Yeah.
I always used to
There's a
love
Frank Lloyd Wright here in Willoughby.
Yes, there is.
Like
Oh.
a couple blocks away from my house, there's a Frank Lloyd Wright.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I've never been in it or anything,
It's
but
yeah.
you can
stay
rent
in
it.
Yeah.
Ah.
It doesn't look
Yeah.
very interesting
Anyway.
though. I've seen it online. It's kind
It's called the Penfield House. It's back in the woods, but one of the sad things about it is, I mean, they put kind of like a highway overpass very close by, and so if you stay there, it's just constant freeway sound.
I always
whatever.
loved the looks of the Frank Lloyd Wright houses until I became
Frank
a
Lloyd
homeowner.
Wright, yeah.
They get pets or whatever. And then, you have, by the
Yeah.
way, you have.
I know.
And then I became a homeowner, and I'm just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, just painting that would be a nightmare. Like literally the exterior of the house. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, it
Oh,
overhangs
yeah.
900
Yeah.
feet.
And
it's
cleaning the windows.
75,000 feet up in the air. Yes. And there's like a zillion
Yeah.
windows, which I grew up in a California ranch that was all windows on the front. And on a weekly basis, birds would thunk dead.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I can't imagine what the Frank Lloyd Wright houses do. Because it's like,
I don't know.
it's all these windows and it's like Mary.
Yeah.
And that's like
It's in the woods.
it's a
Yeah.
bird slaughterhouse is what it is.
Plus falling water. I've read falling water has a huge mold and mildew problem.
Well, there's water
Well,
right in the
because
name.
of the
Water
water.
is evil.
They all leak.
Yeah.
They all leak. All the
Yeah.
Frank Lloyd Wright houses leak.
Because the flat roof.
He also, though, he designed not just the house, but he designed all the furniture,
furniture,
and all
yeah.
the everything else inside the house
It's like
too. So,
super
Yeah.
micromanaging.
Yeah.
yes.
And apparently it can't be rebuilt because the planning, it wouldn't be able to get planning permission because the way it's built is sort of
Yeah.
like a cantilever, it's sort of, yes, it's like a diving board on a,
Yeah, there's a lot of houses in California that are like that too. That's similar cantilever out over a cliff or something and they never get approved today.
yeah.
But a lot of things wouldn't. I mean, if they were inventing motorcycles today, they wouldn't get approved.
Right.
I mean, there's all kinds of things that.
Speaking of motorcycles,
Yeah.
We're not. Isn't there been a recent motorcycle event?
No, she did not. My mother did not buy a motorcycle.
She was just being funny. I was.
She sent me the picture. She
I
sent
was
me the
like,
picture.
Wait a minute.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know how I would like disown her, but
Motorcycle mama.
but my mom has always had that kind of wild streak.
See. That's why
I
was
could
like a
totally see her getting a motorcycle like that. Absolutely.
I picture your mom with like a bigger trike, like one of the ones with the big Volkswagen Beetle rear end, and like the long rakes. You could do
That
long
one was pretty
wheelies.
big.
It did.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
It's a tri-glide.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
Put some ape hangers on it. Be great.
Don't put ape hangers on touring bikes. Ah. Stumbled into my little pet peeves. They're designed to be comfortable, not like this. That's just dumb. You want to do the Captain America, whatever, from the fuck was that movie?
300 miles later, you have no feeling in your hands.
Yeah,
Right.
not even
Right.
300 miles, like
Right?
20 miles.
Yeah.
20 miles.
Yeah, seriously, this is not comfortable. And
Yeah.
then there's like
No.
vibration, so you're doing this for miles and miles and
Oh.
miles.
And most of them are hardtails too.
Yeah,
So
there's no suspension whatsoever.
suspension. Yeah.
I've been there, done that. There's a reason I have a
Oh,
nice,
thanks.
comfy touring bike.
Yep.
It's soft.
Hayden, we
And
wanted to know.
Mm.
Speaking of vehicles, we wanted to know: have you bought a truck yet? Because as an American,
That's right.
as an American man, now you need to have a truck.
Well, the car I drive is the same car I bought brand new about a decade ago.
Okay.
When I was my 5th day in America.
Okay.
I bought a Ford Edge, and it's got
Okay.
230,000 miles on. Its
Wow.
its carbon footprint is fantastic, and it's on its last legs, and
So there's a truck in the future.
I'm looking at a Jaguar.
Oh, well. Okay.
Of course you are.
The Jag.
Yes,
And a truck.
Here's Clarkson.
You're gonna need a truck to tow that Jag when it breaks down.
When?
I know.
Nice F-250 diesel. Come on, with
Yes,
dual wheels in the back and rolling coal. That's what you need, Hayden. A
Rolling
giant,
coal.
like 8-inch diameter pipe coming right up the bed, just thick black smoke.
Smoke, yes. I really think trucks are. I have no allegiance to it. I find them really. I don't understand the purpose because they're. So they're open in the back, so you put things.
Yes.
Put things in, and they're open to the elements, and will blow away, and all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
A panel van, a cargo van, transit van seems so much more. If you're going to, want to be moving things around, then
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not American enough yet.
okay. I'm still buying
So
SUVs.
no, I'll explain trucks.
Please.
Oh no, not
Yes.
no.
I will explain
oh.
trucks.
Here we go. Okay.
Okay, back in the old days.
I have the same problem with trucks. I'm like, it's open in the back.
No, you don't
Like
understand.
it's gonna fill up with snow.
You don't understand. Back in the old days. Back in the
Because I'm
old
not
days.
American enough.
You used to be able to buy a large 4-door sedan that could seat 6 fully grown adults comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do that any longer. No such vehicle.
You just put them in the back then, right?
Here's
Chuck 'em in the back.
so
Yeah, you get like
so
12.
it's because of the mileage, the cafe standards
Yep.
that drove the full
Cafe
size
standards
sedans
and the accident, the
and the accident
various
ratings.
Yeah.
So what happened was people started buying large crew cab pickup trucks.
Well, SUVs, Alan.
Well, yes, SUVs, but even more so, the large, like a large an F-150 or equivalent crew cab gives you the huge interior passenger room. It gives you the long wheelbase for a nice ride on the highway, and there's no crash tests don't matter because it's a truck, and the CAFE standards don't apply because it's a truck. So that's why you see these really expensive plush 4-door pickup trucks all over the place, because that is the replacement for the large family sedan that can no longer be acquired for any amount of money.
Yeah, they simply don't exist. The Dodge Charger /300 is about the biggest car there is now.
Right. And
if you put that next to, I'm going to say, let's pick a car from my own family's history, a 1976 Buick LeSabre.
There you go.
You could fit it in the trunk.
Yeah.
Yes. I used to
my
drive.
Grandmother.
In high school, I had a 74 Buick LeSabre, 4-door. And it was, I literally put 10 people in my trunk at one point to go to the drive-in.
Were they alive?
Oh yeah, they were alive. Everybody just crammed in there, and we shut the trunk.
Were they in pieces?
And I go wheeling up with just me in the car, and I paid for one person to get in the drive-in, and we pull in, and then everybody got out of the trunk. The trunk on that thing was huge, and that doesn't count.
Bigger than the Grand Marquis.
Oh, much bigger.
Wow.
It was gigantic. You could fit a family of Honduran immigrants in the trunk, and they would be perfectly happy. I mean,
they could live in there like an apartment.
They could. And in addition to the gigantic trunk, you had full seating for 6 large adults, very comfortable.
Yeah, you could easily get 8.
Oh yeah. If they crammed in. Yeah, you could
and only be a little cramped.
Right. And if you're dealing with kids, you could put a row of 6 kids across the back seat easy. Because that was before the child seat requirements.
Did it only have the lap belts? There were no shoulder belts.
It only had lap belts. Which I don't recall
if you wore them.
Because there wasn't a law requiring it back then.
Yeah. You could ride the back of the pickup truck if you wanted. I remember
we did. I remember when I was a kid, Dad had a pickup truck, and me and my sister rolled around the back of the pickup truck all the time. That's how we rolled. Going down the highway, back of the pickup truck.
You have to go up against the cab, or the wind would be like too much. Yeah,
that's what we did.
You just drive around in the back roads,
great.
drinking beer in the back of the pickup truck, and then wait for a car. Wait for a car to tailgate us so we could pee on the hood.
But really, that's my theory. That's why the big pickup trucks are so popular, is because they've effectively replaced the large 4-door sedan.
See, there was a stop with the SUVs.
Yeah, but even SUVs have gotten stupid.
Exactly. And then people went to, and they started making noise about, well, the SUVs should be counted as cars because they're not being used as trucks. So they went, fine, fuck you, we'll buy 4-door pickup trucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They 4-door pickup trucks were really, really rare until the 2000s. They really until the 2000s. They existed, yes. But they were like
and they were Chevys.
Chevy was the only Centurion.
One. Yeah.
Dodge did not. Dodge did not have a 4-door pickup truck.
The way it was explained to me was that Chevy there was like a
had
cartel agreement that Chevy wouldn't make an extended cab, like remember the Ford extended cab?
Yes,
Chevy wouldn't make one of those, and Ford wouldn't make a 4-door.
They were special ordered. I'm sorry,
right?
But yeah, it was early 2000s, like maybe late 90s. I think.
Yeah, you started seeing more and more of the 4-doors came up, and
it was right around there. You had about a decade of the Explorer was the big thing, and before that, as they were phasing out the big cars in the 80s, it was minivans. because you could seat 7, and it was still pretty big, but it was still a car.
Yeah, but they killed those off.
Well, they were ugly and nobody liked them.
Yeah.
And I know from Top Gear that they really don't like them over in the UK. I mean, really, what people carriers? That's right. The people
Yes.
They
carriers.
don't like much of anything over there.
Well, they love Ferraris and Porsches and
Minis are good.
I would love a real Mini. Just because I like a car I can carry. Yeah.
Yes.
I
You can put it
heard
in the
that,
back of your pickup truck.
I heard that there a lot of states are not allowing import cars to be registered anymore.
Well, what is it? Was it France? You can't have a car older than like 15 years old.
Right.
Which
Well,
is like
Germany
man.
said they're going to get rid of internal combustion completely.
they're stopping the Autobahn too. They're
That's
going
a
to bring
surprise.
it in, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's one of those things. It sounds great until the entire electrical grid collapses because we do not have the fucking capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
When California is telling people they can't buy certain personal computers because they use too much power, but let's add a few million more cars. What the hell?
Yeah.
And I love it. Oh, you hate the environment. I'm like, no, I like having fucking electric lights is what I like. I like having air conditioning in the summer.
Yeah. We need to be making more power generation
need more
capacity,
nuclear
not
plants.
less. Yeah, we do.
All right, stop talking about fucking Chernobyl. That's not the modern nuclear plant. Fukushima is far more representative. How many deaths were there? I think there were 2. They were single digits.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was a tsunami on top of an earthquake. This was like Hollywood movie level bullshit.
Right.
And it's still held up. And that's what we would be building, not Chernobyl's.
Yes. And
do you think part of the problem with those disasters were potentially like the size of the plant? I mean, if you have smaller plants, more plants, but just smaller, like,
So go ahead.
I don't know. I'm just talking my ass.
Hayden has a thought. I think you're
Okay.
right, Rita.
Yes.
But there's a reason.
So they're trying to get little small nuclear things, almost like the size of a crate, a shipping crate that are stored locally. They're self-contained. When the fuel runs out, they bring a new one in. But it was also the technology that led to the Fukushima problem, which was the high pressure water reactors.
Right.
So some of the new reactors will use molten salt. Salt, when you heat it up, actually turns into a liquid. And so the mechanisms that flows across the heating elements, instead of being water, becomes molten salt. And one of the factors of that is that if it shuts down, the salt cools and then solidifies.
Oh, right.
So the problem of the water boiling off into steam into a pressure vessel, which then ruptures and goes bang dramatically, is no longer there anymore.
Right. But the reason we have those plants the way they are, and the reason we don't have small distributed nuclear power plants, is because those are the plants that you make plutonium in and fuel for nuclear weapons.
Right.
That's the reason the big plants with the high pressure steam exist, because those are breeder reactors that make fuel for nuclear weapons. The small contained, thorium salt reactors that are cheap and safe to run don't do that. And that's why we've never had one before, because the government's like, why would we want to do that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Interesting life event. When I lived in Tokyo, when I lived in Japan for 5 years, I visited Hiroshima. and I actually got to see the wristwatch that makes the peace symbol. There's in the museum. There's they found a gentleman's wristwatch, and it has the hands are on the sort of the 8 and the 8 and the 4, and there's a crack in the glass that goes from the 12 to the 6, and the circle is the bezel of the wristwatch, and the it was adopted by the CNDB Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament as the symbol of peace.
Oh wow!
Yes, but yes,
I did not know that.
But the wristwatch where the peace symbol comes from is on public display in the museum in Hiroshima.
Wow!
And I've seen it.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's where the peace symbol came from.
As we like to call it here in America, the original fuck around and find out.
Yes.
Yeah, too bad we had to tell them twice.
Yeah. But yes, that would be But the nuclear reactor technology is, I mean, can be much improved, and
Sure.
and I really think that if we want to tackle global warming, I'm not sure global warming is really a thing, but in the pretend idea it is,
Right.
then let's have coal. Let's invest in coal whilst we also invest in a nuclear power infrastructure, and the coal can take up the next 10 years whilst we get the technology and build the reactors that we need in the locations.
Global warming or not, I think everybody wants a cleaner environment.
Sure.
Take better care of the environment, because this is all we've got, and why not? If we have the technology to do it, why not do it?
Yep.
So
absolutely,
that's where I am with that issue.
It's one of the biggest problems I have with the global warming crowd as it currently stands is they keep heaping upon these ridiculous doomsday scenarios that keep not happening.
Right.
So you get more and more people who are like, oh, they're just wrong about everything. Even if they are, it doesn't mean we should be polluting. It doesn't mean we should be looking for these inefficient methods.
Exactly.
There's no reason not to be looking for better things, but it's the American way. It's like, you tell me you can't have that gasoline powered car. Oh, fuck you. I'm getting a V12.
Right.
I'm going to have the biggest goddamn pickup truck with the biggest tires and the giant engine with pipes coming out of it because you said I can't. Fuck you.
Yes.
Right.
You're the original. Right. You're not the boss of me.
Yeah. And I always find it interesting that these, enviro men, the stand in the street and block roads, for the environment. They never seem to talk about the environmental problems existing in China, and I think that's because China's already communist.
And
India, of course it is.
Yeah. Sure.
China and India are curiously exempt from the Tokyo Agreement, the Kyoto Accord, that we were lambasted for not signing. Ooh, we didn't sign, booga booga.
Yeah.
Because China's the largest polluter. The reason we've got these horrible paper straws because of the turtles had nothing to do with America. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all China and India.
Yeah, it wasn't American plastic straws that were winding up in the Pacific Ocean. It was the Chinese ones.
Yes.
And
thanks,
China.
It doesn't mean we shouldn't be looking into things, but again, they're not serious when they're like, "Oh no nuclear power."
Well,
really?
also those little plants make so much more sense because they put these even the coal plants and the gas fire they put those plants way out in the boonies, right? But there's huge transmission losses. I mean, about the most you can send, the furthest distance you can send that's practicable to send electricity is about 500 miles. And it's like 30% loss at that. So why not put it closer to where it's going to get used?
Yes.
So Alan, if there's loss, it's going somewhere. So there's tons of free electricity just floating around we could just take. I'm going to build me another truck.
Go
This
stand
is my
under
electricity capturing truck.
go stand under a high tension power line with a fluorescent bulb and see what happens. That's where it's going. That's exactly where it's going. It's going into the ground, into the air,
It's going everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, that's why it was so funny when people are like, "You're going to get brain cancer from your cellular phone." Like, really? Tell me you know nothing about electromagnetic radiation without saying I know nothing about electromagnetic radiation or speaking, apparently.
Yes, I mean, yes, people that live in houses underneath power lines have all sorts of health problems.
Well, mental problems.
Well, there's also there's somewhat of a chicken and egg.
And if they have braces, they get to listen to free radio.
They get Alex Jones 24/7. But it is a bit of a chicken and egg too, because those are also the less desirable areas. So it's there's people that have problems because they live under the power lines, or do they live under the power lines because
they have problems?
Yeah.
I mean, there probably is a correlation.
Speaking of people with problems, I wanted to bring this up.
Good.
I wanted to bring this up just because I don't want to let it get lost, like in the, news cycle type thing. So what was it, last week? It came out that Joe Biden has a set.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And he has like a sound stage, and it's made to look like the White House, and it has fake windows with like a LED screen behind it, and they put images, and it looks like a garden outside. It's very creepy. And then
it is the Rose Garden.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Or whatever. They could put anything out there, but I've actually seen pictures of the window actually having text on it, like it's just weird. So anyway, it's a set, and it kind of looks like the White House, and then there's a stage, literal stage, and then the press is out off the stage. And the first time we all really became aware of this sound stage that they have Joe Biden do things on was when he got his booster shot.
Right.
And I remember when this was, a couple weeks ago, and I remember when he got his booster shot, people were like looking at the video that was on the news of him that happening. They were like, is that fake? Like, is that a fake window? Is that a green screen? Like, because it looks not real, know, clearly. And so, the pictures came out that, it's a stage, and there's the press and whatever. But it's still like, I'm still wondering, like, why? Why are they doing this? What is the purpose behind this? And it has not made sense until, and I want to say this, Mike is very smart. And he says, it's not for us. It's for Joe Biden. And I got goosebumps again. And I was like, oh my God. Because they're doing this in like Scandinavia, like Denmark, and like, up those places where they create entire fake villages for people with dementia so that they feel more comfortable. Thank you.
Yeah, the official word is, well, it's so we can position a teleprompter. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you?
I don't know.
Like, really?
This is the best theory that I've heard, though. The best theory is that it's not for us; it's for Joe.
Oh, absolutely. It makes much more sense than it's easier to put a teleprompter. I'm like, no. I work with a teleprompter that's like, I don't know, probably 10 years out of date.
Right.
And it's easy as shit to set up and move around.
Yeah, you just
I don't buy that.
And every president since the invention of television has done televised teleprompter speeches from the Oval Office sitting at the desk.
Right.
Or the cat maneuvering.
Is that a pocket door?
And for people not watching the video, we just got to watch Tig being removed from the
Yeah.
dining room hutch to the floor.
But yeah, I've seen articles that they create entire villages, with coffee shops and parks and everything for dementia patients, and it makes them feel like real people and they're living their life, but it's calming because it's like this regular place that they go to, and it's always the same, but so
And
it's a good theory.
They've got
I
to
think.
keep this up for another year and 3 months.
Yeah.
He's not going to make it.
Exhausting.
He's not going to make
One
it.
theory
Oh, of
I've
course.
heard is
Of
that
course
this
not, but they're not
stage
gonna let
is
us
in
know.
Delaware.
No, it's in.
I've heard the theory that the stage is in Delaware. I know they say it's across the street from the White House, but
they say it's in the Eisenhower. There's been
Okay.
enough people there that I believe that it's actually in the Eisenhower office building.
Yes, Alan. But could there also be another one in Delaware?
Oh, I'm sure there is. Of course. I'm sure there
and
is.
the one that's across the street.
because
that doesn't make any sense at all.
Right.
Why would they build a stage across the street?
It doesn't.
No,
it doesn't.
If they have that one there, now I believe it exists and they use it.
I know where Jay's going, and I agree.
Now you have the one in Delaware with the round-the-clock care, where he is sequestered away from everything,
and it looks exactly the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Joe likes to sleep at home, right? He's not sleeping well in the White House, so he likes to sleep at home.
Plus, it's going to be a whole lot easier to do a weekend at Biden's.
Yeah.
With a
Bingo.
With a
He's not going to
stage.
make it a year and 3 months, but they're not going to let on.
Right.
Yeah.
He'll call a lid and then just not come back for a few months, and then.
Yep.
So anyway, I just wanted to share that because I just thought it was like a really good theory.
Yeah.
That's a great theory. I like it.
He is, as we say, wicked smart.
Wicked smart.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's
Anybody have a show and tell today, by the way?
Jay does.
I
It's
do.
getting to be that time.
I found a special
Good.
one. I went in I did a little dive in my nightstand with knives. And I don't even know if you'll remember this, Brita.
I don't.
This was not Philadelphia, Pittsburgh in 2011 at the
Oh
NRA
my
annual
gosh.
meeting.
I
Like,
do
a
remember it now.
Bunch of us.
Everybody
like
bought those.
$20 and everybody got one. And then Matt St. Jack was like, I don't think those are real. And we're all like, what? Wait, but I'm pretty sure they are because I looked like now they're going for like $40. And that was a decade ago. So I could buy that there was a special run of last year's model. But it's just like
I remember everybody was like, "Yeah, I'm getting one of those knives."
This was like the big night. Like every year, there was one night that everybody had to have, and this was the Pittsburgh one. Little Camilla's, what the hell is it? A Blaze, I think, is the name.
Yeah.
Yes, Blaze. Whoa, God, I can't read that. I can't read it.
Remember the $10 K-bar?
Yep.
Folder, the $10 K-bar folder. I got like 3 or 4 of them. They're just handy. They're just scattered around my house.
It's always good to have an inexpensive, pocket knife. Because,
box opener, whatever. Yeah.
Or somebody's like, "Oh, can I borrow your knife?" You're like, "Sure, have this one.
Have the shitty one." Yeah.
Yeah. Not the Benchmade, not the Spyderco. Here you get the $10 K-bar.
Yep.
I feel very proud of myself. I've converted one of my coworkers into being a pocket knife girl. So
we need to hear the story.
Yeah. Well, she's cool. I mean, she's pretty young. I think, I could probably be her mom, but I work with her a lot and she's cool. And she noticed I had a pocket knife and she's like, "Oh, what is that?" And I showed it to her and it's the little, was it a squid or something I bought? I can't remember. Anyway, but I bought it because it's like,
it fits in your girl
small
pocket.
enough to fit in a girl pocket.
Yeah.
And so she ordered one too, and now she carries it. So
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
More tool-using humans.
More armed librarians. This is a good thing.
I'm surprised it wasn't the rainbow Kershaw chive.
Oh, no, I don't carry that one. I have to get it cleaned or whatever. But yeah.
So I
have a show and tell, Brita?
Oh,
well,
no.
Your center
I just did the painting.
Oh, okay.
The painting is the show and tell.
The painting is lovely.
Maybe talk about
Hayden
my
has a
doodle.
show and tell.
Hayden, you got a show and tell?
I do. So, Brita, you great energies took Mike's flip phone away from. Yes. So I bought a new phone.
Oh my God.
Ooh, what? Stop
it. That's pretty cool.
I've never seen one of those in real life yet.
Yep.
I don't understand how
That-
it.
It's a folding
seam.
screen.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
What
that's
is-
pretty amazing.
Is there a
I
seam?
guarantee I
Is
would
there
destroy it in minutes.
The screen folds.
Yes.
Yeah, but how is it
It
made
fo-
out of?
It's
It-
made out of plastic and it folds.
Yeah. It's actually.
Oh, yeah.
Is it going to get a crease?
There's a crease, but it's not plastic, Alan. It's actually glass, but
Oh,
it's
really?
folding glass. Yes.
How do they do
What?
Yeah.
Magic.
So it's an Android, but if he wants to go back to his folding phone,
There one exists. There you go.
No.
that? Wow.
Oh my
Is that
God.
the Samsung?
That's-
What
it
is
is
the
Samsung
Cool.
Flip.
The flip.
Show me
Yes.
that again. I want to see it. So wait a minute. Show me the backside with the display on it. So is that's like a secondary auxiliary
Yes.
display?
Yes.
And it probably only lights up when it's closed. or-
You can switch it
Like a
on
flip phone.
Does it like when you get like a text message or something? Does it
Yes.
show it on there?
Gives you the
Yes, and you can respond. You can do like an audio response without actually opening the phone to a text. Yeah.
Does it
So I
have
can-
a?
I can read my text on my watch.
Yeah, I can too. Does it have like a fingerprint scanner or something like
It
that?
yes,
What's the-
it does. And it's here, and it's actually remarkably quick.
Oh,
Ooh.
snazzy.
Huh.
Yeah. So the
I'm
and it's
surprised it's not Retina. You know, you hold-
I heard an interesting theory, and I kind of buy it. That the reason Apple went with Face ID and got rid of the thumbprint on so many devices is because the thumbprint thing is actually more expensive to make. Oh, Hayden dropped.
Oop.
Because the thumbprint thing, the thumbprint with the button is more expensive to make than just having the camera read your face.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because they already have a camera there. All it costs is a little software to read your face
That's right.
versus the cost of having a physical thumbprint reader on there.
Yeah, you
was
got to
more
have the
expensive.
pressure. You've got to have the little pressure points, and
Right.
they wear out. Well, they wear out is actually a cause for keep
Actually,
it.
actually on the iPhone, they don't actually move. It's not a
oh.
button. It's a haptic thing. They don't. It's not a
Back.
button you push.
I'm
It's-
I'm about 2 minutes out from crashing.
yeah. So Jay and Hayden have the same problem.
It's the same. It's been an hour. Bye.
That's enough for you.
All right. Well, that was a great show and tell, Hayden.
Absolutely.
That was
Very
that was
cool.
good. Oh, now we're on.
I'm gonna have to look at one of those in person because I just don't get the screen. I don't
the
understand it.
the thing that I worry about is work hardening on the screen and whether it's gonna like in 6 months crack because you know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what
kind of
happens
thing.
when you bend metal enough?
Yeah, that's what I
That's-
mean. It's
that's-
work hardening. It's gonna
snap. Oops.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it seems like there'd be like a permanent crease in the middle, and that would annoy the hell out of me.
You can feel I mean, if you run your finger, you can feel the crease. There is but they say they've tested it opening and closing 100 times a day for over 5 years with accelerated
Wow.
testing.
Wow,
So
Right.
without it delaminating. So
impressive. Wow.
Yeah, I have to see one in person for sure.
Yeah. Well, Hayden's got one. He can show it to you.
Go
Yes.
visit
You're
Hayden.
close enough. Go have dinner or something. Get some barbecue.
I like.
I don't have a show and tell, but I do have a cool shirt that I have to. It's the. Everybody
Yes.
should know where this comes from.
Here, I'll show mine.
Hey, invest in precious metal. I like that one, Jay.
I have a
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, Rita's
Oh,
got
it's the
the kitchen implement.
kitchen
AR.
weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that shirt. It's getting old. I should get another one.
And Hayden has the squirrel.
Sqrpt.
Nice. It's
Yay.
a great shirt, Hayden.
It is. It is.
I like it. All right,
All right, guys.
and
Absolutely.
we're pretty much out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks
show.
for a great
Thanks,
show.
Hayden.
Thanks for
Yeah,
coming on.
awesome. Thanks.
Hayden.
Thanks for coming on, Hayden. That's
And,
awesome.
Yes. Thank you. Thank
We're
you. for
still
having
waiting
me.
on that pickup truck, though. Or we will accept a Camaro.
In Ohio. In
It has to
Ohio
be a
weather.
bitchin'
No.
Camaro you
Camaro.
drove up from Jamaica.
Or a Camaro or an El Camino.
Oh my gosh.
Which today is called the Hyundai Santa Cruz.
We'll take an El Camino. Because ain't nothing more redneck than an El Camino. All right. Goodbye,
right.
everybody.
Okay.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.